Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the Iron-Blooded Orphans 1/100 scale full mechanics Gundam Barbatos Lupus Rex. So as always, gotta say a big thank you to MindFenix Hobby Store for sending me this kit to share with you guys. If you're living in Australia, do check out their site, the link is down below. And also, as always, whenever I review one of these 1/100 scale IBO kits, it's pretty awesome and much better than the high grade, I think. That may just be my personal taste. But, you know, aside from having more details and just the larger size, better color, part separation, I just prefer the proportions. The proportions are going to be slightly different for the 1/100 scale, and I think they usually always tend to look better for the most part. One 1/100 scale kit that I didn't really like as much was the Chimaris, the original Chimaris. I liked the HG better in that case, but anyway, I digress. Let's talk about this model. It is quite nice, actually. The HG, if you saw my review of the HG, that kind of took me from not really liking the design too much, but actually liking it a lot more, just because once I actually built the HG and had a chance to work with just kind of posing it and posing it with the weapons and all of that just during the course of making that review, really made me like it a lot more, because although I don't really care for some of the proportions of this kit, like the arms are okay, the really large feet are a little bit too much for me, so I don't know, but anyway. The one thing that I do like about this kit is that the 1/100 scale kits tend to be just a little bit more bulky overall, and so I think that definitely helps to balance out the proportions of this kit, where on the HG it was just a little bit too out of proportion. But again, I liked the HG a lot more when I was actually posing it rather than just in a static pose. But here, even the 1/100 scale kit, even just this static pose here, I think it's definitely looking pretty cool, even though those huge giant feet actually don't really look all that bad for me now that it's in this scale and the proportions are changed up a little bit. So overall, building the kit was very similar to, like, if you've built any other version of the 1/100 scale Barbatos, is pretty much exactly the same. There's just a few different parts here and there. This one, I'd say, like, one of the biggest improvements of the 1/100 scale over the HG in this case is the color separation. A lot of what was stickers on the HG is now actually colored parts, which is really nice. So that was a really big success in upgrading this for 1/100 scale. So let's take a look at some of the articulation, and I'll point out that stuff to you. So first of all, there were some safety flags on the ends of the V-fin there. I just have gone ahead and cut those and filed those to a point there. On the head, there's no stickers here. We have the actual green part for the eyes, yellow parts for the vents there, red part for the chin, of course. Then just going around on the back, all of that nice there. So this will look up only to about there, so it can't really look up that much because it's hitting the collar piece on the back, and then down to there. So overall, up and down head articulation, not really the greatest. Color separation here in the chest, the HG had that one as well. But this one feels a lot more sturdier. The HG, I didn't mention in that review, but that part did tend to come out kind of easily. But in this case, it's not. Strangely enough, though, we have this sticker here. Underneath the white part, there's that gray little sticker there. The HG had that sticker as well. And then in this case, I think they could have made that apart, but it's just a sticker, or just left that off. It's kind of a silly color app anyway. But anyway, here on the chest we have some nice articulation here with the ball joint, and the parts for the side of the torso armor here are like mounted in together with this part, so when you move the arm, these parts of the torso armor move as well, which I think is pretty cool. Here on the shoulders, these yellow bits, on the HG those were stickers, on this those are actual yellow parts, so it's a yellow part that fits behind the blue part there. We have this nice addition of this vent under here as well. That vent piece is added. The HG didn't have anything there. But like with the HG, we do still have a little bit of articulation here. This part will move up and down just a little bit there for your shoulder. And then of course the whole shoulder armor itself moves just like normal. The arm can come up all the way, no problems there with that arm articulation. Rotation and double joint in the elbow, but due to this very large size of the arm, now everything is just kind of getting a little bit twisted here in the shoulder here. Bear with me a moment. There we go. The elbow joint is going to give you more than 90 degrees, but not like a full bend, but considering we have this huge forearm, that's just kind of the way it is. Wrist is just on a ball joint, nothing new there. As you saw in the unboxing, the hands unfortunately have some hollow spaces in there. I'm not really too bothered by that. They do have quite a lot of nice detail there, and when you're seeing them from the top, obviously you're not going to notice that. Here on the back, this part of course opens up, and our sub arms will fold out. If I can get this open, there we go. The sub arm will fold out like that, and it's the same with the HG. It's kind of ugly on this side, some hollow spaces there, but if you just turn it, we got some nice detail on this side. And then you have a bend here at the end, right there, that the HG did not have. So we have a nice little extra point of articulation there for that. So overall, the sub arm is really nicely articulated and works really well for this kit. You can see we have little bits where we're seeing like through the white part down to the gray, so it adds a little bit of breaking up that space a little bit. Obviously panel lining would help a lot as well, but even without panel lining, you're getting the white broken up by the little gaps in the armor there, so that's a nice little detail added. In the midsection, it's going to be the same kind of articulation. We've got nice stomach crunch there. It's going to bend side to side, and you got these pistons on the inside looking really nice there, like with pretty much all the 100 scale Gundams. The front skirts are joined. You can just clip them in the middle to separate them. The skirt armor is all basically exactly the same as the HG, except that these side skirts, those no stickers on the HG. This was sticker and sticker, but now that's actually color separated, so that's nice, and these will rotate like that and move up and down for the side skirts. Back skirt, just nothing really there, except there is a lot of really nice detail. Same with, I mean, pretty much everywhere on the kit has a lot of nice detail. That's the whole thing with the full mechanics line, but this one as well. On the HG, there was no sticker at all here, but in this case we do have a like black sticker there at the top of the thigh. Sticker here, of course, on the knee for that like kind of green diamond symbol there. The leg will come up nice and far, and you get just about the same bend that you get out of all of the 100 scale Barbatos kits. It looks a little bit goofy because you have so much leg below the knee and such a small little thigh. It never really looks quite good, but that is just the fault of the Barbatos' design, I guess. And for those who are wondering, I'll show you can get the legs very, very far apart, so no problem with that movement. Here in the legs, again, on the HG, these black parts on the side of the legs, those were stickers. Now they're actual separated parts. That's nice. And then here on the feet, of course, on the HG, those toes were stickers. Now it's a yellow part. On the back of the foot, on the HG had a red sticker here on where is the white part underneath the black part, but no sticker or anything. So I thought that maybe that would be a red part or at least a sticker, but there's neither. So it's a kind of strange thing there. And I think that's pretty much it. Then we can just go to the tail. The tail can move up and down here, and then this is a sticker here, but this yellow part is all an actual yellow piece instead of a sticker, which the HG, this was all made up by two huge stickers, which was pretty terrible. And then of course this comes off, and then you can use that with our wire, which we'll look at in just a minute. So overall, really nice articulation, all really nice details, really nice color separation there on the mobile suit. Aside from the open hands, there we do also have some holding hands, one for the left and one for the right. And we do actually have covers for them as well, so you don't have to switch the covers. We actually have 4 covers, one for each of the hands, so that's nice. Then we have the wire for the blade tail on its backpack. We'll use that here in just a moment. And we have this little stand piece, pretty much almost exactly the same as the stand piece included with the Mobile Armor Hashmal. It's a little bit different though in this case. But it's the same kind of mechanism. You can see there's a bunch of different settings. You can change the height of that. You just pull this apart and then just reattach it at whatever height setting you want. And then of course we have the ultra large mace. Now a lot of really nice detail on there, so that's looking really cool. This one, something that this has is the working pile driver, which pulls out like that. The HG of course did not have that, so that's a nice feature of this one. This one does also have the extending handle. The HG had that, this one has it as well. This one does have a little peg on there. You can see just that one there. That is for pegging into the hand to give you some extra support. Although it is obviously going to be very heavy. Just for a height comparison here, you can see it's going to be very, very tall compared to the Gundam. And because I got the special first run of this kit, also got this white kind of gloss, like pearl gloss injected white action base for this kit that also came with a couple of Tekkaden stickers that you can stick on whatever. Not really any particular good place to stick these on here. I guess maybe like you could stick it right there would be a pretty good spot, I guess, if you wanted to. But then this, of course, is just using this silly action base connector that I really dislike, but that's just kind of what you have to use for this kit, unfortunately. All right, one thing that I've talked about, I think probably in almost all of my Iron Blood Orphans 1/100 scale reviews, and it's definitely worth noting here in this review as well, is that when you have the kits blown up to 1/100 scale, that adds a lot of plastic to the kit, and that also adds a lot of weight to the kit. So one thing that I think the HGs have over the 1/100 scale kits is that they can do dynamic poses a little bit better just because they don't suffer from weight issues, especially some of like the really heavy legs and things like that, and especially the really heavy weapons that we have in 1/100 scale. This kit so far doesn't really seem too bad because like with the HG, the shoulders and elbow joints are actually pretty tight, so I don't think we're going to have too much of a weight issue with this kit. The legs so far are fine, so there's that as well. I still am just kind of just not really anything to do with the kit, it's just the design of the Barbatos. I really just don't like how short those thighs are, just really kind of make it look a little bit goofy and it never really looks quite right. But I think it's doing alright so far, so I gotta give it some good marks. One thing that I'll say about this kit that I also said in the review of the HG is that this just adds so much more to the pose of this kit when you're able to utilize the sub-arm in the back of the arm. There I've got it holding the Gray's axe, and then the tail coming out. It just makes for some really super dynamic posing when you have just not only just the mobile suit itself, but you're like adding more appendages to that, more stuff that can just be like flying around the Gundam there as well. So you can do some really cool stuff with the gimmicks built into this kit, and that's something that really sells me on the design of this. Whether there's certain aspects of the design that I like and don't like, that's just something that really gets me, is that the gimmicks are really cool when you're working with this kit, trying to pose this kit. So that definitely wins a lot of points. One thing that I will say, unfortunately, is that I didn't at first try posing this with that Gray's axe there. I tried using the Barbatos Lupus sword mace there, and that was too heavy. That was weighing down the arms, so you're pretty much not really going to be able to hold really almost none of the weapons from HDR or from the 100 scale, just because most of them are pretty big. So I think like maybe the Kimaris's sword, not obviously the huge lance, but the Kimaris is just like smaller sword you could probably hold. Maybe the Grimgurd's sword. But you're going to be pretty limited actually in terms of the weapon options you can do with this kit. So that's something that you have, that the HG has an advantage. You have a lot more options for what you might want to hold in those sub-arms, whereas with 100 scale you're going to be a little bit more limited in what you can actually hold with those and be able to support the weight. Alright, and so to wrap up this review, I just want to talk a little bit about what is by far the biggest negative of this kit, and that is the fact that it just really has trouble holding up this ultra large mace. I mean, it's ultra large, and that means it's ultra heavy, and like I said, these shoulders and elbows are pretty tight, it feels like, but it's just not going to be able to do it. Definitely not with one hand. Even with two hands, it's really struggling to hold this up. Like, I really had to work at getting it into a pose. With this, I think you could, I mean, and then I'm just talking about action poses. You could definitely do like just a little bit more like static pose or even a standing pose. And you do have to remember, you do also have this little base that you could also use. You can use this for the sword mace as well. You don't have to use it just only for the tail. So you could use that to also help your pose, but if you're having it up on this action base, then this is not really obviously going to be of too much use. So yeah, there's kind of some ways around that, but ultimately it's just too heavy, and that just is going to limit your posing. So I mean, that's fine for me. I mean, just because there's other ways you can pose this, and then I think there's plenty of options. But if you wanted to get this kit specifically for doing some really cool poses with the ultra large mace, you're gonna have some trouble with that. So just keep that in mind. Otherwise, it's a really nice, fantastic kit. Is it the best 1/100 scale Iron Blood Orphans kit? I don't think so. Is it the best 1/100 scale Barbatos? It it's up there. The fact that it can't really use its main weapon is definitely a lot of points against it, but pretty much everything else about this kit is really, really nice. So I really enjoyed this kit quite a bit. Definitely recommend it. A lot of people have been asking me to do some sort of tutorial or something on how to paint the fingers. As I mentioned in the unboxing, I really think that they should have molded the fingers in separate yellow pieces. But in terms of, like, if you guys want to paint those, I would just recommend doing that just by brush, just hand paint those in yellow or, you know, whatever the color you want to. Or if you want to spray paint them, then you have to do a little bit of masking there on the fingers or whatever. But there's a lot of ways you could go about doing that. I don't know if I'm probably not going to do a video on how to paint those, but I'm sure you guys can figure it out. If you do have any other questions or comments about this kit, any questions not about painting those fingers, then go ahead and leave those down below. Otherwise, just thank you guys so much for watching as always, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.